as a government, you know, you are removing subsidy, you should know the impact this will have on people's day-to-day activities. If somebody used to earn 100,000 naira, and we've been told inflation is about almost 22 point something percent, that means what he's having is about 80,000 naira of no fault of his, you know. So, but the issue now is not to begin to cry over spilled milk. Subsidy has been removed. Naira, they say it's still floating. I don't know, but how does that, what does that mean to the common woman in Alakoto market here, or Boundary market in Ajegunle, or my 12 market close to us here? You say Naira is floating. How does that make any sense to her? So the government officials has to become more financially literate in terms of when they are talking to the downtrodden people, so that they will understand them. And that's why we're looking at this series. Last week, I think we made mention of some of the things, you know, savings, investment. You need to understand, you know, before you can say you're financially literate. Now, we also need to understand what is insurance and risk management is very key. And I'm happy today we have some insurance companies that are doing what I call micro insurance, because you need to break it down. You need to take it to the grassroots. The woman that sells tomatoes, is it what they call it again? That sells atta, you know, obalata, all those, you know, the pepper. The young lady that hawks agege breads, the young ladies that sell agoin beans. We need to break it down for them to understand that they are also part and parcel of the economy, because they provide useful services to people. So they are also entitled to understand financial literacy. You will say, what has insurance got to do with the girl that hawks agoin beans and agege bread? You could have a micro insurance for her. Yes, the woman who sells in the market, you could do micro insurance for her. So this is what we are saying, that most of these financial institutions should go down to the grassroots. I don't know, you must have experienced this, though we are trying to even kind of legalize. Okay, it's already legalized. They call it ajo osusu. You go to the market, you see some persons, but again, we need to reduce the risks involved in that collection. So insurance and risk management is key for you to understanding financial literacy, or to become financially literate. Then you also need to understand taxation. Taxation. Because today we are saying increase the tax net. Is that also? The market woman, maybe the old woman that used to that is selling, you know, pepper in the market, dry fish, Maggie, you know, in the market, you want to tax her. So she needs to understand the basis why you are taxing her. So all this comes under financial literacy, because financial literacy is not an airline thing. It is something we need to break down to the ordinary Nigerian on the ground. Then we also need to understand consumers' rights and responsibilities. As a consumer, what are your rights? You have paid your electricity or utility bill, and yet you are not getting that service. I can't remember, well, with due respect to the government of today, I can't remember seeing any public tap that is working again. But in those days, while growing up as a child, in Lagos here, in specific areas, in Apapa, even in Ajegunle, in Amuodofin, we could, after school, when you are going home, you could see public taps, and children would just turn it off and they use their hand to drink. But I don't think there is any. But we have water works all over the place, and yet they are not giving us water. So we need to understand consumers' right and responsibility. Look at how the banks are just debiting people for no services. That was the case. The complaints commission, they're saying, bring your cases to them. They will help you resolve it. You just debit somebody over 250,000 naira for no just cause. And when the person thought it was the airline that made a mistake, maybe they collected the money twice, the airline said, no, bank, stop with your bank. And when she called the bank said, oh, we are sorry. We are going to resolve it. 6 months. They have not resolved it. I will have a personal experience. And I told the bank manager, what you guys are doing is just to expose your ignorance, your stupidity, your incompetence, for you not able to you debit me, the person did not get the money. and it was not reversed back, and you're telling me it is hanging somewhere, it is ICT. How is that my business? And I followed up, even threatening that I'm a media person, and when they saw it, they now, you won't believe it, it was resolved the next day. So that tells me that there are ethical issues in the financial service industry. And I'll be part to be blamed because we train financial experts. And that's why we say ethics is everything you need to teach them. Because you can imagine that. So for you to become financially literate, you need to understand consumers' rights and responsibility. You also have to understand retirement planning. Because the woman who sells pepper in the market, or the man who works as a teacher somewhere, or is it the child who is an analyst that goes to television stations and give lectures and talk? A day will come, he will not be able to do it. He will want to do it, but physically, he cannot move around as he used to be. Look at our footballers. So retirement planning is key. Then, of course, before you ask your question, estate planning is also key, because the good Lord can call us anytime. So you need to plan for your loved ones. You need to keep sending them checks, even when you have gone to the great beyond.
All right, so you've really given us a background understanding about how financial literacy is very important. Yes. And of course, you indicted the banks because they're also corporate in that act. And of course, those who are also their customers needs to understand how they need to be financially literate. Now, you talked about those at the grassroots level. Yes. Now, how do we make them understand the importance of taxation? How do we make them understand the importance of financial literacy at that very, very low level?
Yes, it's an ongoing thing. Even those people who call themselves experts, we still do training and retraining. Even myself, over the weekend, the rains were somewhere inside a hall, and we're talking about financial literacy. We're talking about budgeting. We're talking about components of a budget, the benefits of budget and relationship, budgets and how to track your spending. We keep doing this. So coming to the grassroots, yes, those market women, you'll be amazed. They have association, So we talk with the association, and they arrange a time convenient for these women and other market stakeholders. And even right there in their markets, you just use canopy, and you break it down to them. Like the issue of taxation, you let them know that the road that gets to that market can only be done by the taxes they are paying to government. And of course, responsibility comes in here. If the government is actually doing it, you can actually show them those things the government has done, providing restroom in their market, making the market look clean and all that. Then people coming to inspect the market, they have to pay these workers. Let them be aware that it is their tax, the little tax they are going to be paid now, that is being used to provide these services for them. And I bet you, these women too also have children. Their children can also be talking to them. So if we continue that, we'll be saying that we are doing what we call financial inclusion. It is not just the number of banks accounts people have opened. I'm talking of financial inclusion. It has to be financial literacy. It must be a national campaign. Last 2 weeks, yes, I was somewhere talking about debt management office. And people were saying, how can the government still be borrowing when we are in this mess? But again, all of us are shouting because we know the debts, our debt stock. If not for a former government of Obasanjo that created that debt management office, I think in 2000 or so, me and you would not even know the amount of debt we are owing. So that agency is that agency that is responsible to keep record of any one couple, any one naira, whether it is states, whether it is a local government, federal, that they are borrowed, whether domestic or foreign, they keep the record centrally. Right. So you can see that record keeping is key when we are talking about trying to empower people becoming financially literate.
Okay, you heard it from the professional. Financial literacy is very, very important. If not, you're going to run yourself into trouble. Thank you so much, Mr. Charles, for coming on the studio today. We appreciate your
Yes,
time.
thank you very much. They say budgeting takes away your freedom. No, budgeting gives you freedom.